Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and we're doing another one of these Mac PC reviews because we're going to take a look at from Transformers Legacy Evolution. This is Leader Class Skyquake and its brother, Leader Class Dreadwing. Now, Skyquake was the first leader released in the Legacy Evolution line, and Dreadwing is actually the last. It's part of like Wave 4 of Evolution, Wave um, 7 overall of Legacy. It's getting a little complicated to keep track. Now, right off the bat, I'm just going to say these are straight. Dreadwing is a straight repaint of Skyquake. The only differences you're going to see, oh, excuse me, are going to be in the type of blasters they use. As you can see, Skyquake has a traditional looking Gatling gun, and Dreadwing has a bit more of a straight ahead blaster. But we'll take a look at that a little bit later on when we do the straight comparisons. Now, Skyquake, I'm pretty sure I got from Command Store, maybe, and Dreadwing actually shipped out from Amazon about a month early. So there is that. So, and I do believe the figure is available now. But again, let me just say again, great repaints. The only differences are going to be in the gun weapons. The swords are exactly the same, and of course the paint deco. So what we'll do is we'll pause and we'll take a closer look at Dreadwing. Now the mold that Skyquake and Dreadwing use is meant to homage a few things. First, it's obviously meant to homage their prime cartoon look. That's where the characters come from. But it is also meant to evoke how the Predator Skyquake from Euro G1 looked, especially this back half section. If you didn't notice, if I were to flip these fins down, you do see there are two tabs right there. That if you actually had needle nose, um, you could actually peg the figure in there. It doesn't do anything, doesn't activate anything, but um, that is obviously meant to invoke the gimmick from the original Euro G1, where the smaller Predator jets could combine with Skyquake, and you could look through them to see these little images that were built into the figure. It was a nice little gimmick for what it was, and it actually revealed what was supposed to be the Autobot commander in that line, a figure that was never named, never made. Now, I had started to talk about the weapon, and as you can see here, Dreadwing, which is cartoon accurate, has this single like laser cannon. It is held the same way, and I do believe it's just from the barrel back, it's the same. So you do have that, and there's the sword that you can just pop out. And what's nice is there's a little thumb notch there, so that will pop into place, and there you have the blade. So I do notice the plastic's a little warped. Interesting. Hmm. Well, so you do have that. I mean, usually the sword should be able to like just you feel a small detent as it fixes into place, but not this time. Ah, well, we'll put these off to the side since we can focus more on Dreadwing. Now, the transformation is going to be exactly the same for both figures. That's why we have Skyquake already in robot mode. And so, yeah, um, one thing you do want to note, and I will point this out again when we get to the point, there is a mistake in the instructions because it says the figure can do something that, well, it just can't. So the first thing you want to do if you have them out is fold out the landing gear. And actually, why I have the figure like this, you might have noticed in the beginning that I had the weapon pegged under the wing. In the instructions, they show you that it can peg back here, which is very nice and very handy. The problem is, even with the landing gear down, and as you can see, the figure will not sit. That will hangs too low and causes the figure to be a bit off balance. It's not that noticeable here, but if you have it on different surfaces, it can happen. So just a point of notice. So after you fold up the landing gear, the next thing you want to do is come into the front here and pull these sections out. They sort of soft tab into the front there. Now, this is what I was talking about. The instructions show taking the nose cone and folding it 180 degrees underneath, while the canopy here tucks in to the front. That doesn't happen. Basically, what we're going to do now is you're going to just have to get the nose cone to look like that, and we're going to have to play with it more when we get to the end of the transformation. But you'll see what happens with the canopy, but there's just no way for that to slip through. And also, you do end up having to open up the landing gear as well to get everything in position. I don't really know what went on there, but it is what it is. So, right, I would say right now, just leave it about like that, just to give yourself some room to work with. With that being said, come around to the back here, lift up the wings. This will detach them from the fuselage, which is going to become the legs. And what you want to do is rotate these down, just like so. Let's turn the figure over. And if you have a problem going back into vehicle mode, make sure that when you're doing the transformation, you have this post facing forward, um, basically with the waist facing backwards. So you'll be able to fold it up and rotate it properly. Everything will sit. But once you have the legs looking like this, fold them out just like so. And again, make sure you have the covers here facing away from you when going back to vehicle mode. That will help. Uh, Next, what you want to do is unpeg these wings here, rotate them around. And what's cool is there's a little slot right there that will go into a tab, and that will just secure it in place. So go ahead, do that. Let me make sure I have it. Right, there we go. Flip out the feet, and then rotate them forward that those wing sections are now facing towards you. Um, at this point, you can straighten the wings out a little, make it a little, give yourself some space. Come in underneath, bring the arms up. They're on ratchet joints. Then just bring them out to the side, and we'll leave them for now. Next, what you want to do is flatten out these tail fins, pop open this section here. Here. There we go. And that will just open up like so. You want to actually fold the wings like that. That will reveal the chest. And now what we're going to do is rotate the figure at the waist just halfway. That will give you the room to go ahead and rotate the wings around. And that's a little off camera, so let me bring things up a little. So basically the wings were here. You're rotating them around here, and then you can finish rotating the waist so that the chest is facing forward, and this is the forward section of the waist. And as you notice, it's now getting a little top heavy because we're going to have to finish the transformation. So I'm actually going to have to hold the figure, but I will try to keep things in order. So go ahead, rotate the wing panel around so that that fin is facing up, and just keep it out to the side like that. Do it again on this side. The instructions don't show you folding the panels back down to do that. Uh, I just think it's a little bit easier. And then go ahead and continue folding them down, and then you can close up this back panel just like so. And you basically have the back section done. Oh, no, you don't want to do that yet. My mistake. No charge for the mistakes, folks. Get the panel back up there. Because I almost forgot, um, we got to bring down the nose cone. So as I had said, you want it to look something like this. So bring down that section that will free up the head, keep the shoulders up, and yes, this gets a little finicky right now, but it is what it is. And basically, what you want to do is, oh boy, did I not? Maybe I should not. Okay. What you want to try to do is you're going to finagle the nose cone so that um, the tip is going to sit, it's going to slide down, and it's, there we go. Or not. Geez, of course, as I'm filming this, I have to have a problem. Uh, there we go. Okay, so once you have, yeah, keep it that the landing gear only angles out a little. And then once you have it straight up like that, you can push the torso down and that will snap into place, just like so. Keep those pieces forward. And then, as we started to do before, you can bring this section up and fold that into place. And the canopy will thread through. Oh, did I tell me? Oh, no, I have it backwards. The canopy will thread through that opening, and you can just close up the panels now, just like that. And that is the hardest part and the most annoying part of the transformation is just getting it all lined up. And like I said, the instructions aren't that wonderful in terms of explaining how it's done. Also, what you want to do is give a little push on the back section here so that the this blue part will clip into place uh, like that. So it looks a little straighter than normal. Coming around to the front, bring the arm, flip the hands out, bring this panel in. That will tab into the wrist. Bring the arm down, straighten it out. It's a double jointed elbow, so you got that. Do it again on this side, and I do apologize if that little bit with the back was a little shagged, but unfortunately, that's the one part of the transformation I don't think was could have used another pass. And then what you want to do now is rotate. Oh, not pop that off the ball joint. Uh, Oops, excuse me. I got to take this, and we're just going to pop this back in. Basically, bring on the hinges there. Bring the elbow pad forward. So on this side, uh, we do it again, just like so. And there we have a Dreadwing uh, transformed and ready to roll. Yeah, it does look a little gappy from the side. And you think things aren't exactly lined up, but they are. I mean, really can't get that much further without breaking something, but that's it. Um, Once you do the transformation a couple times, it's not that bad, but the first couple times, especially when dealing with the arms and that back section to get everything in place, do I not have that? It can be a little iffy. Now, as some of you remember, one of the things we found out was the sword, because of a ridge on the plastic, can only fit in the left hand, and of course, we can have it here holding the blaster in the right hand. Now, for weapon storage, because if you remember, both Skyquake and Dreadwing were known for pulling out over the gun from over the shoulder. There is like a little post here you can kind of do that. I wouldn't recommend when the sword and gun are combined using the sword handle to handle the blaster, just because it's a little of a loose connection there. But let's go ahead and bring uh, Skyquake in. Let me just make sure I got everything. Yeah, that's about it. That's just, like this, and let me just bring the arms down here and straighten the figure out. And you can see that you do have some options as to how. And you just noticed there, I knocked out the sword. Um, you do have some options with the wings about curving them in. You can do that. But other than that, it's the exact same mold, the same design. The colors are different. Skyquake has a straight Decepticon logo, while Dreadwing has the Decepticon Air Force logo. I mean, overall, it's a nice figure. And to be honest, I thought there was a way that you could store the sword back here somehow, but I guess not. It is nice. I mean, I do like the figures. I was fans of the character from the cartoon. In terms of articulation, you do have a very expressive ball joint on both. You do, as we saw, the ratchets in the arms, and you do have this opened armpit joint that allows for the two-handed holding of the blaster. The waist, ratchet at the hips, and believe it or not, he just hit his brother. You do have double jointed knees. So you do have all that and a very slight ankle pivot. Now, I do want to mention that in terms of posing the figure, there are times that um, it does get a little top heavy. I think because not everything is as flush as it could be back there. But if you just balance the weight right, it should be fine. So, how about we just pause now, and we'll be back with my final thoughts. I know a lot of people were critical of Skyquake and, by extension, Dreadwing, due to the nature of the transformation, the gappiness, and really they were finding fault with it not being 100% accurate to the show. Now, there have been alternate transformations that people have discovered that you can do. So, I mean, there is that. I like them. Now, here's some questions to ask yourself on which one to get, or whether or not to get both. Number one, if you're a fan of the Prime cartoon, then I can recommend buying both, even though Skyquake wasn't in it that long, and Dreadwing has more of the story arc. Um, if you weren't a fan, then it comes down to what color do you like and what style of blaster do you like. Um, Personally, for me, if I was only going to buy one, I would only buy Dreadwing. I like the blaster better, and I like the colors better, especially the shade of blue. Um, Now, to be really honest, if you were a fan of the show, I do highly recommend the Commander class figures of Skyquake and Dreadwing. They were smaller, simple to transform, but they really look like they're cartoon characters, and they did include their weapons, and there was like a modular playability throughout the Cyberverse line, which is sort of being invoked by Evo Fusion. But yeah, that's about all I can say. You might be able to find Skyquake on sale now. Um, if not, Dreadwing was just released, and it's always a little touchy with these final wave figures to see who's going to get released and when. And if they're going to be, stores will pick it up and it'll be easy to find. So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, like, comment, and subscribe. Your views are great, but the likes, comments, and subscriptions help to communicate to YouTube through the algorithm that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you want to make the ultimate sign of support, I do have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. $1 a month, $12 a year. You guys know the spiel. Um, as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month, $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. Um, Also, as I've been mentioning, a big way to help me nowadays is to actually um, share my videos around social media, websites, bulletin boards, if they still exist, and submit them as news. Guys like me have to counteract the stolen toy reviewers, and a lot of times that's very difficult. Uh, so this is a way that you guys can help, and again, let me say, it really does help. But that's about it for Skyquake and Dreadwing. We will see you next time.